Hi, and welcome to the Sage Studio podcast. I'm so excited about our guest today. Our guest today is Mr. Brent Daniels. And Brent Daniels is an award-winning music producer, composer, and sound engineer, sound designer, actually. And his sought-after production style can be heard in remixes for Epic Records and artists like Madison Beer and Bahari. And his original music can be heard in movie trailers for Sony Pictures, Paramount Pictures, Netflix, Hulu, Marvel Movies, Marvel Studios, Disney, including the Black Panther and Black Widow and Hawkeye and the Bad Batch. So we are super excited to have him here on the podcast. So welcome, Brad. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We are so excited to have you back. I say back because you've had the opportunity to work with us before on our Sage Stage. For those of you that don't know what our Sage Stage is our virtual live guest speaker series that we have every Friday. And we bring on these different guests every Friday to showcase their talent and their expertise. And we have had the pleasure of having Brent on twice. And he always blows us away with his talent. And his interactive presentations are so awesome. So when I was thinking about who to have on our Sage Studio podcast as a guest, it was like a no-brainer. I'm like, I have to call Brent, make sure that we get him on the podcast because he's so awesome. So thank you for being a part of another Sage Oak project.
My pleasure. Your students are awesome. So for people watching or listening, I do different workshops and virtual interactive music assemblies with really K through 12 students from my studio here using electronic music hardware, which I have in front of me here. We make music together and I show them how we can use technology to create music and sound. My and missions as a professional is being an advocate for education and definitely music education. I have a career in music because I had great teachers growing up and really value the education that I got. And so I really enjoy working with students and showing them how I'm using not only technology to which they have access in their daily lives, but how they can use the education they're getting at a great school like your school. So it's a lot of fun. So we've done it a couple of times with your student audience.
Oh, it's so good. So let's start with your music background coming from great positive experiences with music teachers growing up. Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, so my first memories of being exposed to music are in a general music class all the way back to kindergarten, first grade, and it was really more just music appreciation. I remember listening to my music teacher was playing the Beatles on records,
Nice.
but that was my introduction to listening to music, which was a revelation. And then fast forward from third grade to fourth grade, really big time jump there.
Yeah.
I began taking piano lessons, or I was, encouraged to by my parents. I wasn't interested in taking piano lessons, but I had an excellent piano teacher. And I would say it was a modest introduction to music education, but it sparked something in me that kind of kept growing and snowballing. By the time I got to high school, I was like, I could really see the value of piano lessons because I was able to hear stuff that I loved on the radio and I was starting to translate that to my fingers, either sight reading like popular music or just being able to play it by ear. And so then I discovered like synthesizers and electronic instruments. And then I was like, wow, this stuff is cool. Just trying to figure out how they like made those sounds on music I was hearing on the radio and pop songs and stuff. So it was my own interest outside of school that kind of kept me going. And then I was lucky enough to be able to take college level music theory classes in junior and senior year. So I was exposed to stuff earlier than I might have in college. And that really kind of gave me a little bit of an edge for what I was trying to do myself at that point, which was actually write music, like write notation. And I started my own band in school. And that kind of gave me some of that experience of how could I continue using the stuff that I'm learning here. It really turned into like a thing for me. Like that was my thing by high school, whereas in elementary school and middle school, it was something that I just did because I had to, but now it was like a choice. I mean, it's like at some point you're taking ownership of what you're learning. And there are some things that I didn't gravitate to as much in school, but the music side, I definitely did. Anything on the creative side. I mean, what a amazing opportunity to get an education,
Sure.
but in particular for me, music.
You brought up two things for me that I think are really interesting. One was that you mentioned how you had the opportunity to take college classes in high school, and that really helped you with your writing ability. And I think that's really cool because that's something that we do offer here at Sage Oak. Our students can work with
Oh, really?
our high school students can work with their education advisors on taking courses at the community college level. They can get exposure to working with professors that are in the music industry, like you were saying, that have this experience that can really help them on a little bit more elevated level with some of the more specific career oriented skills that they might be looking at, in addition to courses like, music theory and whatnot. But you could also take some classes from someone who's a real expert in the field that might really be impactful in your career. So that's really cool that you have that experience because I have had my own students here at Sage Oak that have taken music courses and had the college course experience while they were in high school, and it's been super beneficial for them. So I'm glad it was for you too. Go ahead.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, the educational opportunities I was offered were kind of standard for someone at that time in the United States going to school, meaning
Mhm.
that it was limited to general music and orchestra, band, jazz band, choir, chorus, maybe instrumental or vocal, but that was kind of it. Nowadays, and you're kind of touching on it there, students have access to so many more places to learn, but also professionals who, just because of the way industries have grown and developed, the technology that we're using, that I mean, if your students are able to work with those college professors at the community
Mhm.
college, or sounds like they're working professionals in the music or entertainment industry like myself. And that industry didn't exist the way it does. These students have access to the tools for creating the music. They also have access to opportunity in terms of careers because there's just so many careers that just weren't around 20 years ago.
Sure. So let's talk about that for a little bit. So going back to your high school days, things are starting to click for you. You're getting access to cool tools, synthesizers, you're playing around. You kind of are starting to put it together, going like, okay, I'm actually kind of good at this and I love it, right? And it's fun. So how do you go from recognizing I'm kind of good at this and I really love it to I think I can make a career out of this?
That's a really good question. So I'll amend the question a little bit. I knew I really loved it. I loved making music. I can't say that I knew that I was great at it.
Okay.
And that's a lifelong pursuit. But early on, yeah. And for any students watching, hey, it takes some time. Don't feel bad if you don't know everything yet. It can take a while. And that leads to my next point, which is for me, it wasn't the straight path to here's how I'm going to do it. It took me a long time to figure it out. One, to figure out how the music industry worked, but also I wasn't really sure what exactly I was going to do in music. When
Mhm.
I was in school, you pretty much had a choice between education or performance
Mhm.
in terms of a degree for music. There definitely wasn't like an opportunity for a career path to how to get signed to a record label. How
Right.
I mean, we didn't have streaming services back then. We had computers that were really expensive, internet was slow, there weren't digital audio workstations, you didn't have access to a multi-million dollar recording studio equivalent and a $1,000 laptop, which we do now. Students have full-on recording studios. The music I'm making like that for a trailer, you could do in a car. I mean, as long as you've got some headphones and you've got a medium power laptop. So none of this stuff existed. Opportunity for content creators or specifically in music for music or audio professionals nowadays are available to us because we've got multiple streaming services where you can distribute music that you're writing and recording. So you can circumvent the record labels, which really back in the day were the only way to get your music out to people and onto
Right.
radio stations. We have the internet, and this whole thing with self-distributing music didn't really happen until about 15 years ago, 10 years ago. And then we also didn't have all these different shows and on Hulu and Apple TV Plus and opportunities for students like your high school students who are interested in recording music to get their music placed into an HBO Max TV series or music placed into a Marvel trailer like I do. So
Right.
the opportunity technology has completely shifted, and now students have access to these things. For me, it was like, luckily, I got signed to a record label off of a demo that I recorded. And from that experience, I learned a lot about the inner workings of the music industry and the entertainment industry in general from an audio and music perspective. So I found that once I discovered that my record label had taken basically every song off of my record and placed those into different movies and TV shows, I was like, "Wait, what did you just do? You just took a song that I recorded that I thought people would listen to, and now it's playing in a big budget film. How does that happen?" So I learned about music publishing and what we call sync licensing, which is licensing music to synchronize with your picture. You can license music to video games, you can license music to commercials. The whole world kind of opened up for me. So then I began focusing on recording music specifically for that purpose. And it turns out now that a huge source of revenue for a lot of composers and music producers who specialize in doing that. So there are actually quite a few different lanes for creators in the music world, either in terms of audio and working with audio and sound design, or creating music, recording music, or both. So there's this really kind of large ecosystem of careers available that over the last, I would say, 10
Oh,
years. I mean, the music,
okay.
all the music I make for trailers for Marvel or Disney, I'm making on a laptop here. Now you can do it from anywhere. And in fact, someone like Billie Eilish and her producer brother recorded her multi-Grammy award-winning record in a bedroom on a laptop with this very same software, Logic Pro, on a Mac. So when this stuff became available, that kind of changed the game for creators. I think this is where technology is an amazing thing because now any of your students can take an off-the-shelf computer with free software like GarageBand on their iPad, and they have the same tools that any professional has, and that was just unheard of before.
It's so
So
crazy. I mean, I'm just so blown away by so many things that you're saying. Like, you're so right about all the different career paths that opened up as a result of, it's not just about radio, but then when you have Netflix and Hulu and Apple TV, like all these different things coming into play, there's so many more opportunities for people to have careers in music in all of these different ways. Then you have like technology that comes on that really allows the artists to take a lot of that into their own hands and start producing a lot of their own music and marketing their own music and kind of representing themselves a little bit more and getting out there in that way. So, how did you learn the tech that you needed to start producing in the box? I'm using air quotes.
that's
In the box.
in the box. I love that you said that. Yeah, that good question. When I was in middle school and high school and I was playing with synthesizers and samplers and drum machines and stuff like this, I mean, this is basically what we had back then, which is
Mhm.
hardware instruments. That kind of stuff is, let me say it this way. If you're interested in using that kind of stuff, you probably have an interest in figuring out how to do creative things with
Got
this
it.
kind of
Okay.
tool.
There's a personality type here. There's some alignment, right?
A bit, yeah. I mean, so it was really just a snowball effect of needing to figure it out with the new tools, but also like, this is so amazing. It's going to let me do stuff faster and easier.
On that note, if parents are considering trying to support their kids in fostering their love of music and maybe going into a music career, would you say learning technology is now kind of a critical part? Like music students should absolutely be learning GarageBand or something like
Yeah, that's a good question. I've never thought of that. Yes. So I'll say yes. I mean, why not? I mean, certainly it's accessible. Something like GarageBand is free on a Mac, but a lot of people already have iPhones and or iPads, even if they're not Mac users. GarageBand's also on that device as well. I don't think there's anything wrong with having some, say, recording literacy or compositional literacy, even if you're not going to become a recording artist or producer.
that.
Certainly
Right?
is
Yeah.
going to be a benefit to you. You might find as a student that the things that you experience in playing around with GarageBand, some of those skills translate over into another skill, which could be another job you're interested in. You might find that, oh, I'm not interested so much in recording the music, but I'm certainly really interested in the sound design aspect of doing
Mm.
sound for film. Or I'm really interested in editing, and I really like how I could take images and synchronize them with music and create this thing that you can watch and enjoy. And I can cut my own trailer to the song that I hear on the radio that I love. If there's something you love to do in the creative space with technology, there is a job for you. There's a ton of jobs. I mean, there's a trailer editor making the trailer. There's a voiceover artist at the end of the trailer. There's the music, which I did. There are sound effects. But in the production of the film, you've got a post-production sound design team. And each one of these roles, by the way, is a specialty. So a lot of these are like like a niche of a whole industry, and there's multiple niches, I would say. If you want to pursue music for fun, you might as well turn it into a career, and you're going to need to eat at some point. Students have access to a lot of ways to monetize their skill set. The
Yes.
world has changed a lot in the last, 30 years, 20 years, 10 years. It's going to continue to change more in the next 10. What will not change is the ability to do creative things with skills you developed. The tools might change, the playing field might change. As creatives, sometimes we wear multiple hats, and having multiple skills is a good thing.
I think you're leaving us on such a high note. And I could talk to you for hours. And I know that our audience now probably feels the same way. I mean, you're so passionate about what you do that it makes, I think, all of us just so engaged in wanting to learn more. There's not just that one way anymore. So, I mean, I hope that our students, if they walk away with nothing else from today, I hope that's what they heard, is that if you're passionate about music, if you put in the hard work, if you practice, if you learn, if you continue to pursue opportunities, doors will keep opening, and there's a lot of room out there for music creatives. We will continue to bring you back. I know that our community is going to want to hear more about what you're up to and all that you're doing. So thanks so much for your time, Brent. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tiffany.
All right.
Thank you too. My pleasure. Have a great day, everyone, or night.
See you on the next one.